legislators Livingston, Cook, and Carroll. And then in the first round, Senator Pace worked together to make sure we had a plan. I do not agree with them on all the details, but we got a plan that makes sense for the county, and I think the voters will be enthusiastic to get a chance to vote. So it's a great day for Maricopa County. The work is just beginning, but a lot of people here today, from this business community to sustainability community, advocates to for our students, all came together to make today possible, and I am here as a grateful mayor. And now I get the chance to turn it over to someone who has led both MAG and our region at multiple levels, who's been a great advocate for transportation investments and for infrastructure and just for the people who call this community home. Please welcome my friend, Mayor Giles.
Thank you, Mayor Gallego. It really is a very exciting blessing and opportunity to be here for the signing of 1102. This was a long time coming, and I have to admit that there were many of us that were pessimistic that this the legislative route would actually bear fruit. And I got to tell you, it feels really good to be wrong. This is something that the merits of this proposal are self-evident. When businesses come to Mesa, Arizona, and they say, we want to locate here, this is the reason why. When I go to other parts of our country and see regions, and I come back home and I realize that we are doing things better than they are, this is the reason why. I think in spite of all of our enthusiasm, and there's nobody that's more happy in this room today than the mayors that are behind me. They're acting a little subdued now, but that's not part of their character. This is a plan that has been in the works for years at MAG, and so I want to again thank MAG staff and the mayors that have come together, worked on this literally for years, and we are so gratified and so excited that the plan, that the regional transportation plan that was the subject of all of that effort has survived, and that's what's going to go before our voters. So thank you for everyone that's made that possible. It's probably a good thing to remind ourselves that we are not done yet. There is an election in November of 2024, and I couldn't be more excited to go to the voters of Mesa, Arizona and look them in the eye and say, this is a good plan, you should vote for that. And the reason I'm so optimistic that this plan is going to pass is because the merits of this transportation system are self-evident. In my community, the reason, and each one of these mayors could take the podium and say the same thing that I'm saying, but in my community, the Gateway Airport area that has now attracted Apple and Google and Meta and Gulfstream and Virgin Galactic, that's because of this plan. In my historic downtown that now has thousands of new housing units and an ASU campus and new businesses, that's underpinned by light rail. So Governor Hobbs, on behalf of all these smiling mayors, and personally, I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making the extension of Proposition 400 a priority. Because of your commitment to this process, we were able to bring people from different political persuasions into a room and come up with a bill that deserved bipartisan support. I was very impressed at the beginning of your administration when you announced the guiding principle for your administration would be pursuing an Arizona for everyone. I think what you're about to do here in a few seconds allows us to do just that. So thank you very much. It's now my honor to turn the time over to the governor.
All right, now we'll take questions. Can you please just raise your hand if you want to ask any questions?
There's like none. Good, done.
Sorry. We're not going to give you that easy of a time. I'm sorry. I'm Stacey Barchinger with the Arizona Republic, for those I don't know. I wanted to ask about kind of the other part of getting this bipartisan agreement on Prop 400 was the prohibition on the rental tax. Several mayors standing up here today have called on the legislature to backfill that lost public safety funding and works funding. Governor, knowing what we know about tensions, to be nice, with the legislature and the fact that we're just not going to have a huge surplus next year, how do you make that pitch to Republicans that they should put that money in the budget next year?
Yeah, I mean, this is a challenge. And as Mayor Gallego said, we didn't all get everything we wanted. At the end of the day, this was a compromise. And it's going to be a priority for me to come together with mayors and try to find a way to backfill. I know it's not going to be easy. None of this has been easy. So I think that seems like the easiest part of everything that we've done here.
Did you invite President Peterson and Speaker Toma here today?
We did. They just were not able to be here.
One of the mayors mentioned that, they're pessimistic that the legislative alternative will work out. I know there had been discussion of going a different route.
Yes.
How far along were those plans? Were those being worked on in concert as you try to get this across the finish line, or were those from thoughts?
I'm not the best person to answer that question.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Ken Weiss from Avondale. So the question is, how far along did the Free Maricopa alternative get, is kind of what you're asking. I think Mayor Giles said it perfectly. The Prop 400E going through the legislation was option A through Y, and Free Maricopa was option Z. And I think there was some serious discussions on it between the mayors. There was really no planning that had happened. It was a much more difficult route than getting it through the legislature. But I think there was initial discussions on that, on what's the best way to go about that, how do you fund that, who's responsible for what. But that's about as far as it got. But I would tell you that I think for the West Valley mayors, and I don't want to speak for Eric or Joe or anybody else, but I think if the legislature hadn't gone the way they had, we would have absolutely explored that.
Others? Sit there.
Sarah Robinson with Arizona's Family. We're getting a lot of questions related to heat, and I know Maricopa County record breaker year in July, and we're on track to break the record for previous heat deaths. I know you've taken some actions, but if you have to declare a state of emergency, how many people have to die before that happens?
We've been working very closely with a lot of the leaders you see up here because of the unprecedented heat that we're seeing this year, and we know it's costing lives. The state of emergency is an option if we need to free up additional resources. To date, that hasn't been necessary, but we're still leaving it on the table, absolutely.
Governor, you mentioned a litany of business and industry groups that got behind this effort, especially in those final days calling on legislators to pass it. What is your relationship like with, how would you characterize it, with the Arizona Chamber?
I think it's great. Does anyone here want to dispute that?
Others?
The abortion initiative is now underway.
Mhm.
Make the case to Arizona voters right now why they should support it.
I campaign hard on this issue, and I know that Arizonans are enthusiastic to support the constitutional right to an abortion. And, this is something that is not going to go away as much as the other side wants it to. And we've seen across the country in Michigan and Kansas, just in Ohio, that voters are continuing to be enthusiastic about this issue. And I am confident that it will pass in November.
Carrie Lake looks like she's running for Senate. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it means she's going to have to admit that she's not really the governor, so.
All right, we got time for like two more.
As a follow-up to my previous question, obviously you see the devastation in Maui where 36 people perished due to the wildfires. 59 people have died this year because of heat. What would it take for you to declare a state of emergency?
As I mentioned, the benefit of having a state of emergency is to free up resources. And when those resources are needed, we're ready to do that.
Yesterday, Rachel Mitchell asked you to sign the extradition extradition warrant for Lori Valadeva. Will you sign it?
Yes? Yeah. I wasn't aware we had it, but yes.
So that extradition warrant has been signed.
It has not been signed yet.
But you support the extradition of her here to face charges in her crimes?
Yes.
All right, I think we have time for like one more, and then we have a hard out. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.